For years, Savannah Guthrie has been the face of NBC's Today Show, a polished, charismatic journalist whose sharp questions and radiant smile have made her a household name. We've watched her navigate personal struggles, including her divorce, with a poised grace that masked the deep emotional undercurrents of her life. But what if I told you that behind the professional facade, Savannah has been hiding something far more profound? A secret that, for over 30 years, remained carefully hidden, one that could shake the foundations of her entire existence. A double life, not one filled with scandalous affairs, but a shadowed reality that had its roots long before the bright lights of television. Now, with the disappearance of her mother, Nancy Guthrie, Savannah's secret life is finally unraveling, and the consequences are far-reaching. The call that changed everything. It all began on the morning of February 10th, 2026, as Savannah and her family huddled in a rented house in Tucson, Arizona. They were in the midst of a tense investigation into her mother's disappearance, with no new leads after days of searching. Savannah had been up before dawn, coordinating with law enforcement when she received an unexpected phone call. It wasn't the sheriff or an FBI agent on the other end. It was Elena, a name that Savannah hadn't heard spoken in years. Elena's voice, urgent yet calm, brought news that shook Savannah to her core. "We need to talk about your mother and about everything you've kept hidden all these years." For the first time, Savannah's composure cracked, and she was forced to confront a secret she had buried for decades. The secret world of Elena Ramirez. To understand the gravity of the call, we must go back to 1988 when Savannah was 16 years old. At that time, she was a high school student in Tucson, still under the watchful eye of her mother Nancy, who had become both a pillar and a source of tension after her father's sudden death. Nancy's love was fierce, but came with rigid expectations. Be strong, be independent, never show weakness. As Savannah excelled in academics and extracurriculars, she felt the weight of these rules pressing down on her. Then Elena Ramirez entered her life. Elena, a 19-year-old artist and activist, ran an underground youth group for teens who felt out of place in conservative Tucson. Elena introduced Savannah to a world of creativity, activism, and personal freedom, everything her mother's strict rules had denied her. The emergence of Clark, a hidden identity. Savannah's life with Elena quickly blossomed into a secret world. Savannah adopted an alter ego, Clark, based on her middle name, and began to explore parts of herself that her mother would never understand. Elena became not just a lover, but a confidant, the one person who saw the real Savannah, the one beyond the perfect daughter. This hidden world was one of rebellion and self-discovery, where Savannah could let go of the pressure to perform and simply be herself. As Savannah moved through college, law school, and began her journalism career, she kept this double life intact. Her visits to Tucson were masked as study trips, but in reality they were escapes into the world she had built with Elena. Savannah's double life, a constantly balancing act. As Savannah's career took off, first with local news in Tucson and later with NBC, her double life grew more complex. The pressure to maintain the perfect public image intensified, especially as she became a household name. Elena, understanding the risks, never pushed Savannah for more. She quietly stepped back as Savannah's public life exploded, knowing that the cost of revealing their relationship could destroy everything Savannah had worked so hard to build. Still, the weight of maintaining two identities, one as a high-powered journalist, the other as a free-spirited artist, began to take its toll. The visits became rarer but more intense until, in the mid-2000s, Elena relocated outside Tucson to teach art, allowing Savannah to maintain her public image while still keeping a connection to her hidden self. Confronting the family, a moment of truth. When Savannah finally told her siblings Annie and Cameron about her double life, the room fell silent. The truth came out in a rush, and Savannah found herself explaining not just the existence of Elena, but the years of secrecy she had kept from everyone, including her family. "I've been living two lives since I was 16, she admitted. "Elena was part of it. Mom never knew. No one did. And now it might be why this happened." Annie and Cameron, understandably shocked, began to ask questions. What did Elena have to do with their mother's disappearance? Was she involved? Savannah insisted that Elena was not responsible for Nancy's kidnapping, but admitted that the ties to the past couldn't be ignored. Elena's sudden appearance and her cryptic knowledge of the situation had forced Savannah to reveal what she had hidden for so long. The fallout, a fractured family and a bursting secret. As the hours stretched into an emotional family confrontation, Savannah's truth caused a rift in her relationship with Annie and Cameron. Annie, in particular, was upset that Savannah had kept such an important part of her life hidden for so many years. "How could you lie to us, to Mom, for 30 years?" she cried. Cameron, pacing and shaking his head, was equally distressed, unable to fully comprehend why Savannah had kept this secret for so long. The revelations were too much to process in one sitting. Savannah's decision to compartmentalize her personal life, to keep Elena hidden, had not just affected her relationship with her family, but had now potentially played a role in her mother's disappearance. The FBI's role, and the deepening mystery. As night fell and the family continued their emotional discussions, the FBI became more involved, questioning Elena and gathering information. Elena's story matched Savannah's. She had no involvement in the disappearance and was just as concerned as Savannah about the possible connection between the activist days of the 80s and the present-day kidnapping. But the real emotional fracture had already occurred. Savannah had kept a secret so deep, so intertwined with her identity, that even she didn't fully understand the consequences until it all came crashing down. The FBI investigation turned its focus on these old activist connections, trying to piece together the loose ends that might explain Nancy's disappearance. The mask Savannah had worn for so long was now off, and the woman who had carefully built a life of success and perfection was finally exposed, raw, vulnerable, and wondering what the future would hold. The final confrontation, a new reality. The next day, as the investigation into Nancy's disappearance continued, Savannah found herself sitting at the kitchen table with her siblings, struggling to hold it all together. The bright, confident woman we saw on television now seemed smaller, more fragile. For the first time in her life, she was forced to confront the reality of her secret life and the toll it had taken. The weight of the years spent hiding who she truly was, the emotional cost of living a double life, had finally become too much to bear. And as the FBI continued to piece together the investigation, Savannah knew that the answers lay not just in her mother's disappearance, but in the life she had tried so hard to bury. Would the truth destroy everything she had worked for, or would it be the key to finally healing the wounds that had festered for so long? Thus unanswered questions. As Savannah sat with her siblings, now fully exposed, she realized that the truth she had buried for so long was now inescapable. Elena's phone call had cracked open a door that Savannah could never close again. The mystery of her mother's disappearance, one that had captured the attention of the nation, was now intertwined with the personal secrets Savannah had kept hidden for decades. With the investigation intensifying, one thing was certain: Savannah's double life was no longer something she could hide behind the cameras and the smiles. The woman who had spent her career interviewing presidents and tackling tough news stories was now the one facing the toughest story of her life.